What's up, Jason? It's Bitcoin Weekly here. Everybody, it's Bitcoin Weekly. It's the third episode. We have a special guest today, Kelly Lee Valley Hunt. But before we get to her, she is the CEO of Pearl River Ventures, a fund focused on early blockchain cryptocurrency tech. She is also the founder of, I want to say this slowly, hold on, Mint Gold Dust, Web 3.0, non-custodial digital art platform. We're going to get into this in a second. But Jason, before we introduce Kelly, okay, so
I don't even know where to start.
I don't know where to start either. Pre-market, I sold the Coinbase I carried over the night before at 86, 85 and a half. Thank God I did, because it fell to 73 because Stablecoin failed.
Yeah.
And then they just so
Luna.
It fell to 73. I bought it back. It rallied up to 77. I sold it. Some at 78. Got rid of the whole position. Then right in the aftermarket bought some more, and now it's down to, I saw it hit 58.
I mean, it's insane.
It is a bloodbath. Oh wait, it's back to 65 now.
Price action.
You can't even pay attention to it. Kelly, do you pay attention to any of these? The bloodbath that's taking place in, I guess, everywhere now, right? They're getting to all the names now, right, Kelly?
Yeah, I think they're getting everybody, but I try not to pay attention to it long term. I look forward to what's going to happen, so try to avoid watching it on a daily basis. And I've been in this kind of crypto blockchain space for nearly a decade. So
you had a magazine, Forbes, calling you a pioneer in blockchain cryptocurrency. Woman on the Block, along with Microsoft, presented Kelly with Hyper Growth Innovation Leadership Award. You've been around at this a long time.
Yeah, at the time it was kind of embarrassing because there were so many amazing people that had walked before me. But now I'm kind of happy that they took the initiative and called me that.
You've been a guest speaker at Google, Yale, Columbia Business School, King's College in London. You left school at 16 years old to study German, Mandarin. Is that Botswana? I don't know how to say
Bahasa.
that. Is that right?
Bahasa. The language of Malaysia.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. You have a master's degree from the University of Warwick Business School in the United Kingdom. By the way, I just got back from the United Kingdom 2 days ago. And just for the record, I know you're an expert at blockchain, but is there anything you could do about the food over there? Because if I didn't have beans for breakfast, beans for breakfast every day with an English sausage, although the Indian food was incredible.
Oh my gosh, the best.
Yeah, the best. It was really good. You're in a part of the blockchain that fascinates me and Jason. I think that, I wonder if you could talk about Mint Gold Dust, kind of like, could you make it stupid proof? Like, I didn't get a master's from a school in the UK. I don't have a fancy accent. I don't know what you know. And I mean that sincerely. I mean that in the nicest way. Like, literally, you're like a brainiac, and I'm like a Neanderthal man from California, born in Ohio. Can you just make it simple for me to understand the NFT space a little bit?
Yeah, I'm from New Orleans, by the way, so my accent's all kind of messed up.
Nice, nice.
New Orleans, they called me an Asian Cajun when I was living in Malaysia and Indonesia. So,
our producer Christy, who's right in front of me, is from Louisiana also. Anyways,
woohoo, in the house.
There you go.
I was one of the first investors in Super Rare as well. John and Charlie Crane worked with me at Block Apps, and Block Apps was the first company to incubate out of Consensus. It just so happens to be owned by Joe Lubin's son, Kieran James Lubin, and it's a fantastic blockchain as a service. Kieran took Haskell and combined it with Ethereum and created a hybrid blockchain for private and public chain. So what Block Apps created was something that we took to market, and we coined the phrase blockchain as a service, and we signed the first partnership agreements with Google, Red Hat, the UN, Microsoft, AWS at the time, and that was pretty big. That was a big deal in 2017. So, yeah, I've been at this a long time. And when Charlie and John told me what they were going to do with Super Rare, they didn't call it Super Rare at the time. They called it something for crypto art. I thought that's amazing, and I wanted to be a part of it and support those guys because they would ride their skateboards to work, and we're really like chill, cool guys in Williamsburg, and also amazing developers, and truly believed in a decentralized world for art on chain. When I did reach out to them, I wanted to build Mint Gold Dust in 2020 and 21. I reached out for their blessing basically and said, I want to build a story around the NFT. I want to build it with an 1155, not a 721. I want to be able to give the opportunity to artists to build with editions and a story around the NFT. And we truly at Mint Gold Dust, we believe that there is a story for every NFT, and there's an artist behind every NFT, and there's a collector behind the artist. And so we want to build that history book basically around each of the NFTs in a decentralized way so that creators and collectors can seamlessly transact on chain without any custody of the art or the funds, basically.
Jason, did you get all that?
Absolutely.
I mean, you're a scientist yourself, right? Science of the numbers. Like,
I mean,
so if Jason had a piece of art, how does he use Mint Gold Dust?
So that's a good question. First of all, we would ask that you come and let's take a look, our curator and the team take a look at what you have and that what you want to mint and see if it kind of fits into our ethos. We don't have a lot of P2P, PFP projects. We don't have any. So that to me is an interesting, it's a different world than what we're in. We like to create the audience and help create the audience with the artist. So coming to Mint Gold Dust, we would take a look at what you have, and then we would support you in the minting process, help you set up your wallet, for example, and then we would help you advise you on where to tell the story or how to tell a story, and make sure that you have all the things that you need for minting. You would come to the site, you would mint your work, you would establish your space, your curated space, basically with your pieces.
Do you have a particular blockchain you like to use as a payment method? Like, are you an Ethereum person? Are you a Bitcoin? I guess level 3. What would you use? Historically, or what are you using going forward?
Well, I love Bitcoin, but and I have a lot of rare Pepes from Counterparty. But for Mint Gold Dust, we are Ethereum based. We have looked into layer 2s. We have also looked into the royalty payments following the NFT and the artists, and so that's one of the biggest challenges with building a layer 2. Or even building a platform based on the Ethereum protocol. We want to make sure that the artist gets their royalties on the secondary market, and that's really difficult to do. It's an industry problem. So when an artist mints their work, a collector comes and purchases that work. That collector can then go and sell it on any other platform. Let's just pretend that all the platforms are on the Ethereum protocol. When that secondary market happens, when that collector goes and sells that piece of work, the royalties don't always follow that artist. Most people believe that the smart contract has it written in there and they will always and forever receive the royalty payments, but that is not true with any ERC 20, 721, 1155. So that was one of the challenges that I saw in the market, and I really wanted to solve that. Still haven't solved it yet.
So people don't, the theory of it following you around and giving you royalty, it's not working, you're saying?
Yeah, it's not true. It's if you, at the time when we built, in the early days when the platforms were being built, like Super Rare, for example, we thought, an artist comes, mints, collector purchases, the collector turns around and sells it on the platform, that royalty goes to that artist who initiated that NFT. So when there's multiple platforms, that is not true, where the royalty follows the artist. So, yeah, that's an industry problem. And most artists believe that that royalty will always and forever, because it's written in a smart contract on chain, it will follow the artist, but that's absolutely not true.
The
It
other
really
day,
depends on where the collector sells it.
the other day, Bored Apes or whatever did a big offering, and there was a problem with all these gas fees, and I'm curious as to what your take, if you even followed it, that drama with people paying all that money for gas fees and what went wrong there. Can you explain that to a layman a little bit, or no?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like if toll roads were adjustable based on the traffic. So normally a toll road at 1 o'clock in the afternoon would be $2, and then at 6 o'clock the price would increase because of the number of cars flowing through the toll road. It would increase to $20. So that's basically what happened with the Ethereum network. When there's so much traffic on the network, the gas fees go up, and when there's a lot of the traffic goes down, then the gas fees go down. So
it's kind of
there
like
was
surge
a lot of
pricing.
yeah, exactly.
So it's like a surge pricing for.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of demand on the network, so they had to pay more gas fees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the same thing happened with CryptoKitties. They said that it broke the Ethereum protocol, but in reality, I remember Joe getting up and saying it was a challenge, and it told us a lot about the protocol. So I'm a big supporter of the Ethereum network. I'm a very big supporter of the Ethereum Foundation. I believe that the number of developers that are building on Ethereum is significant. And if you have that many developers building and solving problems, then you have a good resource base. So that challenged the network again. That challenged the protocol again. So the amount of traffic is something that we're all always worried about because the gas fees go up.
What's your use case then for Bitcoin? Like in your mind, if you're not using Bitcoin, or I thought it was layer 3, but maybe it's layer 2. I get myself confused all the time. If I know Bitcoin's trying to build a protocol around it, it's not commonly used yet. But what do you like about Bitcoin itself? Because that's obviously what we mine. The show's Bitcoin Weekly, and really that's all we really focus on. In fact, that's all I buy in the crypto space. And I don't even consider it crypto. Yeah. I know it's a crypto asset. I consider it a digital asset. And I realize that crypto gets thrown around with anything that's digital. But what is your use case for Bitcoin?
You're asking me to be very controversial. So Bitcoin stacks. I mean, Munib has built some amazing things, and so I think there is a lot of opportunity for Bitcoin and for different protocols that interact with Bitcoin. And maybe Bitcoin protocol would be the trust layer for other protocols to be built on top of that. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity there. For the actual coin, I believe, and this is going to really rub people the wrong way, I believe it's a great store of wealth. If you can get your hands on Bitcoin, then and a significant amount, it's really it's going to last the test of time. I mean, 2150 is the last Bitcoin being mined, so or is it 2140? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I think that to me is, and that the fact that there is that it is capped at 21 million. I think there's a lot of pieces to the Bitcoin protocol that only add value to it as a resource. So. I think that if it's used as the trust layer and the trust currency and Bitcoin backed, I think that that there's a lot of value in that. And I know that there's so many people out there with different opinions. So don't burn me at the stake.
Why do you think that's controversial, though? I mean, in terms of there's a limited number of them, right? The 21 million minus what's been burned or lost, right? You're mining to 2140. I mean, reality is it is scarce. I mean, with Ethereum, you can make more, right? I mean, so what am I missing in terms of why do you consider that controversial?
Well, a lot of people, anything, can I say shitcoin on here? Anything other than Bitcoin is a shitcoin to a lot of people. And I think that is kind of right and wrong, in my opinion. I believe that there are other currencies out there that have been created that are fantastic. I love DAI, for example. I love stacks, for example. So, if you believe that that Bitcoin is the ultimate currency of choice or store of value, then that's great. But if you're using anything else or buying anything else to transact on chain or in the Web3 world, then it's considered shitcoin. So I guess there's so many different opinions out there that you can't really.
Do you know, Jason? Jason, do you know DAI?
I'm not familiar with DAI.
What's the symbol for DAI?
DIE? DAI, but it's.
Can you write that down? DAI?
The symbol.
Huh. Have you ever heard of DAI?
I don't partake in
You're
getting
kidding.
educated on.
Oh my gosh, you guys are maxis.
When you hear something new like this, like I never heard of
my
DAI.
gosh.
No, I don't really look at.
Do you know what DAI is?
Altcoins. I won't call them shitcoins.
Oh my gosh.
I
Oh
won't
my
call them
goodness.
shitcoins either.
I don't know.
Yeah, I
the
knew it was
utility.
going to be controversial.
Is that like Polkadot?
I don't know.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
all I look at are like the basic top, coins.
I only look at Bitcoin and then Ethereum. I looked at
Yeah.
Litecoin because we used to mine Litecoin and we know Charlie.
Yeah.
And I mean, Litecoin's cool, right?
I mean, I
but
look
I
at it a
don't.
little
I don't know
bit.
what the use case is
I go
for
a
it.
little deeper, but not much.
What does DAI do? What's it
It's
for?
a stable coin.
It's a
Stablecoin. Have you heard about this recent pegged?
Yes.
I want to know what your opinion
With
on
Luna,
Luna
yeah.
is.
It's killing Coinbase today,
that.
right?
You're going to see Gensler, and you see what's going to happen here. You already see what's going to happen with Gensler and the SEC. We need more regulation. Look,
You
what's
heard the
happening.
senators talking about it today,
Elizabeth
right?
Warren. I don't
I'm
even
curious
need to look.
what's going to happen with FTX, with the admitting that someone knew that something was going to happen.
Yeah,
should
that
be
was. I mean,
interesting. Fallout.
circling back, Kelly, to your thoughts about Bitcoin possibly being a global reserve currency. Does that ever come into play in your opinion?
Well, the reason why I actually became interested in Bitcoin, I was in the data center industry, and I heard about this international currency, and then having lived around the world, left the United States when I was 19 years old and lived in Germany, Spain, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, China, Nigeria, the UK, and obviously the US. I was really interested in this currency that I didn't have to carry around in my pocket several different currencies. So, yeah, I think it's an international currency. I think that it is what everybody can afford to invest in and hold as the currency of choice. I from the beginning, that's what I've believed in, and I still today I believe that.
So
What do you make? Go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
No, so this gets into, let's just dig a little deeper here into the quote-unquote controversial part of this. So it's taken it on the chin a few times. Of course, President Xi, China, banning, not just banning Bitcoin, but all things digital currency. Keeping that in mind, let's think about what's going on now with central banks, their incessant need to create their own digital currencies. You're seeing IMF, even the United States government, to some extent, would probably look to roll out a digital currency. Printing fiat is what it is. I mean, inflationary measures here through Jerome Powell, it's not going to stave off inflation, in my opinion. They're looking for a 2% goal of inflationary policy. That's not going to happen, even with quantitative tightening. Even the aggressive measure of raising interest rates, 50 basis points, 75 basis points. Kelly, I'd like to get your thoughts on that. Like Bitcoin's staying power, number one. And then number two, what's going on with the US dollar? It is probably, it is the best fiat of all the fiats, but people don't really talk about its loss of purchasing power there and how Bitcoin, can't be inflated from that standpoint. So I just want to get your take on that, the staying power of Bitcoin, the adoption of Bitcoin, where if we can get a larger percentage of citizenry in the global environment to take on Bitcoin, the staying power, and then the key efficiencies of Bitcoin versus fiat.
Yeah. So when I try to eliminate a lot of the noise when I give my personal opinion, I try to look back on the creation of currencies and the creation of the dollar, for example. If you take into consideration why we actually created a dollar, you have to consider the Port of New Orleans and the exchanges that were there and all of the different types of currency that was coming into the Port of New Orleans before the US dollar was created. You had your exchanges, you had your gold, your fur, your hemp, your rice, your cotton exchanges, and all in the Port of New Orleans. And that was the most prosperous port at the time. And so when you take into consideration of that, and then you have all of the European countries coming across with their beautiful paintings that they've had in their houses, and then they bring them over, and then they need to buy lumber to build their own houses or horses or whatever. And that's why you find a lot of these old paintings in the old buildings in New Orleans and stuck in the walls. So after some time, the northern countries and the northern ports didn't like the fact that New Orleans was a really prosperous port, and we also needed to create a stable environment for any kind of exchange. And so what happened was, the Federal Reserve was created, and they didn't want to put it in New York because that would, really piss the South off. So they put it in Pennsylvania. And then after maybe 20 years or so, we had this, even on the first U.S. dollars, Louisiana Purchase was written on the front of it. And over time, it took decades for the dollar to stabilize and for people to trust it. And for people to trust it, they started saying that this U.S. dollar is equal to gold. But that wasn't first off. That was, in the beginning, it was like this is equal to this many silver dollars, or this is equal to this many bales of cotton, and this U.S. dollar is equal to X number of bales of hemp or whatever. And so as time went by, they pegged it against the gold, pegged it to gold, and eventually then it kind of it I think we actually made it illegal to hold any gold.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. Yeah. 1913 Federal Reserve Act. 20 years thereafter, 1933 Roosevelt Executive Order saying, hey, you guys got to sell all of your gold back to the government. So you said, and then of course they buy it back for a nominal fee and then reprice it. So,
60 years goes by, and then the U.S. dollar is stabilized, kind of.
And
then Nixon, and then the gold standard is removed. But this is Kelly. But
I don't want to interrupt you. I did this, but I want to just say one thing. I want to hear your thoughts. But this is actually my point to those people. Like you see Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, specifically Charlie Munger, like demagoguing Bitcoin. But the reality is the stableness of the dollar in terms of human history has not been that long. It's not that unusual that we as a society modernize. I mean, this is why I'm all for Bitcoin. I think it's the modern. See, I don't see it as a currency as much as I see a store of value. I still see fiat as necessary from a government perspective because they have the power to tax. Right. But it's in terms of a store of value where I want to transact with you, Kelly, and I want to do it in Bitcoin denominated in denominations of Bitcoin. We can agree that Bitcoin, one Bitcoin equals one Bitcoin, but you can't always agree that $1 will always equal $1 because, this gets eclectic. But my point here is it's not been that long, right? I mean, am I wrong to think that it's been that long that the dollar's been that stable?
Yeah, it hasn't been, and when I talk to people about this, they always ask me, so what does it take to get to the point where we can trust in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies? And when I refer to Bitcoin and the trust of Bitcoin, it takes time. And I think that's what we need, and that's not what people are giving it, because there's, communication is sped up in comparison to when there was the ultimate currency created, the U.S. dollar. Then, and you hear my humor in that, I hope. But it just took time, and it, we have these means of communication and very sped up means of communication now. Everybody's thinking that it should be instantaneous because that's how we get our internet these days. It's instant, but trust is not instant. So we need time. And a lot of people ask me, why do you trust Bitcoin so much? And I trust it because it's backed by code. And for me, code is in some way law, and it will be in the future. So just like a signature is law, or has become law over 200 years, or before we had the chop, in China they still have the chop. They have the seal of approval. For a long time, if you didn't have wax as a seal of approval, then you didn't have the chop and you didn't have the authority. So now, we've evolved and we have a signature, and now, and that was the authority. And now, moving forward, now we have code. And so I truly believe that code is law, and Bitcoin is backed by code, and therefore it's a store of value and something we can trust. So that to me is like that sped up version of the trust factor when it comes to Bitcoin. And I believe that countries will start using Bitcoin as a store of value, and I think they will peg their central currency to Bitcoin in the future.
Really?
I don't think that. I truly
Wow.
believe that.
Wow.
I mean, as
Maybe-
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Maybe I'm a little bit naive, but that's what I believe.
Well, you're going to see a lot of pressure from governments.
But if they peg it to Bitcoin, though, could
Yeah.
they print more of it? Well, I guess they could, right?
It could be fractional. Then you'd have a fractional
Yep.
reserve system there. I mean, then it gets into the tether to the stable coins. Will stable coins be, will we use silver or gold to back stable coins? I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that's being discussed right now. But Kelly, keeping that in mind, like as far as your wealth storage or storage of value and money, Todd, I mean, Bitcoin is fungible also. I mean, it has the ability to be transacted that way. I mean, you see a lot of flexibility and versatility in Bitcoin, in my opinion. It's just a matter of adoption. Like, how do we get the masses to take the plunge, Kelly? I think that's where we are, the transition, the trust factor, like you said.
Well,
Yeah,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Kelly.
I get in a taxi and I ask, can I pay you in Bitcoin? Or I buy something and I say, can I pay you in Bitcoin? And it's just to it's not that I want to ever give somebody my Bitcoin, but it's just to get them thinking, like, what are you talking about? But I did get in a taxi the other day and I said, hey, can I pay you in Bitcoin? And he said, no, but you can pay me in Doge. I was like,
Doge.
what?
Did he really say that?
He really said
great.
that. I said, do you know what Bitcoin is? And he said, no, but I have Doge.
Did you see
And I
the
said,
way
you're kidding me.
That's great.
You got to be kidding me.
Did you see the way she said
Yeah.
that though?
Yeah.
Her tone though, she said, like I would ever want to give anybody my Bitcoin.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
no way, dude. Not a chance.
Yeah, I find that same thing myself. I have 4 kids, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to give them each a Bitcoin. Like, that's part of, because I figured, okay, if Greg Foss is right, Greg says Bitcoin's going to be at $2 million a coin eventually, right?
I love
That's
when
a
he
nice inheritance.
I love when he goes on his explanation of that, and
Right.
hopefully he'll do that this weekend at the conference.
Yeah, obviously, if you guys are going to be at the conference, it starts the 12th. The evening of the 12th is the party, and then obviously we're going to have a lot of people there. Nicole Arbor is going to be there. Anthony Scaramucci,
Thomas Lee,
Charles Payne, Damon John, Josh Altman, Nicole, Natalie Brunell. Did I say her name right?
Yeah,
I like her a lot.
Natalie's
yeah,
awesome.
Natalie's going to be there. Bradley's going to be there. Lee Seinberg. I never say her name right. Is it Perry Ann?
Yes.
Perry Ann Boring is going to be there.
Yep.
Chris Mizuno from Bitmain,
Yeah,
Brian
from
Smith from Multi-Point Capital. I said Charles Payne, Chris Wu, Greg Foss, Connor Daly, Aaron Schock, Mike C. Rock, and Alex Rodriguez. Kelly, the question is, why are you not going to be there?
I'm flying to Austria, but
Oh, nice.
Oh, really? When are you headed to Austria?
on Friday. Yeah.
Nice,
Just to
nice.
take a little bit of time off.
Is that a vacation?
Semi vacation.
Very
I
nice.
rarely take strictly 100% vacations.
I
'cause
never
I'm
do
always
either.
trying to
My wife
cities
said
that I like.
my wife said to me the other day, I've been married to you for 18 years. You have, even when we were married and our honeymoon, you never took a day off. You were always like reading something, listening to a book, thinking of an idea, writing up on your part of your business plan. And I think that you either have that mentality or you don't. I don't know why I can't disconnect.
I call it high potential individual. So.
And in fact, Kelly, I would argue that the show will go on all day talking to you about Bitcoin, because I could talk about a million things about Bitcoin. What do you think about the pullback? Because we had invested about 160 million in miners. We had already bought 1,000 miners. Then we bought more. We got up to 20,600. We went to Dubai with Bitmain. We spent 160 million total on miners, and then another 20 million on development, buying a data center. We're pretty committed to the process. But it hit 69,000 when I was in Dubai. That lasted about 1 minute for me. And since the day I bought the miners, it's been pretty much down here to 30,000, give or take a couple 40,000s there. But what's your thoughts on this fairly big pullback from 69,000 to, call it, 31,000?
Well, it's not at 5,000. The last crypto winter, it went to 5,000. So we're still moving and edging towards the future of what we expected. It's not growing and keeping, staying at the all-time high as that everybody predicted it to be, but we're still not at 5,000. So that means, for me, that means growth. That means acceleration, and it means stability.
Yeah, it definitely, I guess I would argue the same thing with you, that it doesn't go in a straight line. I mean, the road to Amazon going to 3,000 stopped off at $4, right?
Right.
So, I look at it that way too. I just wanted to get your perspective.
Yeah, if you can compare it to a stock, then, which I try to not do, but if you can compare it to a stock, then, you just need time for it to grow and gain trust. So,
Yep.
After 13 years or 15 years or 25 years, then you'll start to see it stabilize.
So I'm gonna put up a headline. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. Probably can't see it. But the headline says a $3.5 billion bet on Bitcoin becoming a reserve currency for crypto is being put to the test. Crypto project Terra is buying billions in Bitcoin to support UST, a controversial stablecoin. Its creator, I won't even try to say the name, Daequan, believes Bitcoin will become a reserve currency of the Terra ecosystem. The belief is being put into the test with UST falling below its dollar peg. What do you ultimately see happening with that sort of mess that seems to be transpiring?
I have no idea. It is a mess, but anybody that is buying Bitcoin, I have to say they're doing what I say, I preach about, So if that is what's happening, purchasing Bitcoin, then that's fantastic. I think anybody that's thinking about pegging their currency or their any type of value to Bitcoin, I think that's the right way to go. And if I simplify all that out and really look at the nuts and bolts of it, then I think that they're doing the right thing by doing anything with Bitcoin, purchasing Bitcoin, pegging the Bitcoin, anything to Bitcoin. I think the value of Bitcoin is just going to increase. it's not going to be completely all the time at an all-time high, but neither is the dollar, neither is the yen or any other currency for that matter. Neither is gold. So,
Jason, would you take your paycheck that we give you every 2 weeks in Bitcoin?
Sure, I would.
You would?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that people should do that. I think that's very risky for companies, and especially like tax implications around that. That's a big challenge. But there's a company that I invested in a few years ago called Gilded Finance. They're based out of New Orleans. They have built you can invoice. They've built a platform where you can invoice in cryptocurrencies. You can also have a report, spit out a report based on whatever you have incoming into your wallet or outgoing into your wallet, and that'll help you with your taxes.
Well, I want to know what that is. What's that program again? Can you write this down, Jason?
Gilded Finance.
Yeah, it's on Pro River's website.
Gilded?
Yeah.
Gilded, yeah. Gilded.
Gilded.
Yep.
Gilded.
Mm-hmm.
Gilded.
Don't be
guilty.
Don't be gilded into doing it.
Guilty.
Yeah.
Kelly, I noticed. I'm a big fan of HUD-8 and Jamie over there, and Sue Ennis and Aaron. You have, full disclosure. It's on your website. I assume you have a position there. You're invested in HUD-8, or?
I invested. It was one of the first companies that I invested in the stock market.
Yeah.
Since 2001, I kind of lost a lot of money in 2002, and so I just stopped investing in the stock market for a while. And then I saw that Jamie and her team. There are several females on the executive team, and so I wanted to support them. I believe what they're doing. I believe that they're going to be very successful. So I'm a firm believer in HUD-8 and Jamie and her team.
They come out with their ESG report came out today. Actually, it's 25 pages. I was just getting ready to dig into that. So pretty interesting there. Pretty excited. I like HUD-8. I like Hive, the two Canadian entities. I'm very bullish on HUD-8 and the female presence they have in the space. It's wonderful.
So I think they went. I bought it at $3, and then it went up to 16, and now it's kind of leveling out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Your Pearl River Venture Capital LLC. How did you get started with a VC fund?
Yeah, with Block Apps, I did my master's degree in entrepreneurial finance while I was working with Block Apps. And I took them to market, and we became a leader in the blockchain as a service. And in the meantime, I got to meet a lot of the founders of a lot of these protocols and platforms. I was at the launch of Cosmos, for example, in 2017. And in the middle of all this, I saw such great opportunity that I wanted to continue to invest in Web3, in the ecosystem of Web3. So I just started an investment company. It's just myself. I evaluate companies based on their technology, based on their founders, and based on what we need in the marketplace, in the Web3 marketplace. So I've invested in an accounting company, Gilded Finance, and an AR, VR, geo-dropping, like a Pokemon Go company called Illa Space. Another company called Smart Seal, which takes a NFC and connects it to the NFT, and so on. So a handful of great companies, and not to forget Super Rare and Mint Gold Dust. So I truly believe there's such a wealth of information within the Web3 space, and I find those developers that are building and true to the decentralized space, and then I want to invest, and I connect with them and help them build, introduce them to people that I know within the ecosystem as well.
You wouldn't want to be on the board of a mining company, would you?
I would love that. I
really?
love mining.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Well, actually, Kelly, we should chat, because you definitely first. And I don't know how I feel about what I'm about to say. I have two daughters, one that works for Amazon, one that's still in school. And you would think that this doesn't matter, what I'm about to say, right? But it is so hard to find women to be on the board. I don't know why that is the case. I I hear like we used to be in California, and they're like, we mandate that you hire a woman, a gay,
Yeah.
a transgender person, and like someone that's gay and transgender and black. I'm like, you guys, we're having trouble just getting women to want to be on the board. Like,
Right.
we don't want them to not be on the board. In fact, I would argue that in a room full of males, women are the most sane of having a reasonable business argument, right?
Sure.
With a bunch of testosterone around, and the woman's like saying, "Have you thought of this other idea?"
Yeah.
So, Kelly, I mean, have you seen the same thing I'm seeing, which is it's really difficult to get, or is in your space maybe there's a lot more women and you don't see the same issues we have as being a public company?
Yeah, no, I definitely see that there's a big challenge. I mean, I always put my money where my mouth is. Also, I tell people your conference doesn't have enough women, but I can spend $40,000 investing in a big newspaper article about how you don't have women speakers, or I can give you $40,000 and you can get at least 20% speakers, which is what I did at NFT NYC last year. And they had just at 20% speakers. So I try to support this, and I try to get more women to be vocal. It's difficult to get women to be risk takers. Typically, if a female is working outside the home, it's because there are people depending on that paycheck, and so they are they don't want to put themselves in a risky position. The better the devil you know, I guess, and so they stay put. They don't take that leap of faith and thinking that the next company that they go to is going to be better or as much as inspiring as the one that they're at. So that is really an industry standard problem.
Yeah. I saw that in my prior life. I was a professional poker player, and it's dominated by males. However, when you get a female that is not risk averse and aggressive at the table and has great body language, works very well on being consistent.
Wasn't Jennifer Tilly? Wasn't she playing for a while?
She was a player, but she
was Unabomber's girlfriend, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking like Annette Oberstrad from Norway.
All right.
Like she played online,
It's
but then
exhilarating.
these girls are
Annie Duke.
Yeah, she's
Right?
solid.
Is she still playing?
She was math also, and she read
was
people.
math,
Yeah, she
right.
read people well. So yeah. Anyway, my point is, in a male-dominated, industry, or not a sport, but just industry like that.
I think the
female,
thing when a female kicks someone's ass
Yeah.
in poker,
Yeah.
like other guys are like, yeah,
Oh, no.
this is incredible, right?
Well, they
I mean,
start-
it gets you jacked.
Well, then the ego kicks in, and then
Yeah.
they start playing. Then they just get really emotional, Kelly, and they start making these crazy decisions. And then the female can just take advantage of them even further and exploit their weaknesses even further. So I guess that's my point.
Right.
So when you have a female presence like that that's really focused and doesn't really think of it in terms of money and is just very focused on and not risk averse and very aggressive.
Well, my point of this is we want females on the board.
Yeah.
We do.
For sure.
And especially someone as smart as Kelly.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, actually,
That's very
if
kind.
you were intimidated like me, you'd say, well, don't put her Sard on the board. She'll kick your ass. But, hey, sometimes we need a good ass kicking.
Absolutely.
Kelly, we appreciate you. So if you told our audience to learn about anything you want them to learn about, where would you send them? Would you send them to PearlRiverVenturesCapital.com, or would you send them somewhere to read about one of your companies? What would you suggest to them to learn about what you're working on, or just to learn about the things you talked about?
Yeah, PearlRiverVentureCapital.com is great, but also MintGoldDust.com is a fantastic creative platform. There's a nice community there. It's a nice ecosystem. That's really what I spend a lot of my time working on these days.
Are you on Twitter, Kelly?
Absolutely. Lee Valley Kelly, LEVALLEY Kelly, KELLY. Yeah, I think, and I've pinned a couple of things if people want to read about. I mean, if they're listening to your show, they probably know a lot about the Web3 world, but I've pinned, my favorite book is The Business of Blockchain by William Moger. It's also Mastering Ethereum by Andreas Antonopoulos. And these are people that I have a lot of respect for. And I've pinned their books and some reading material on my Twitter page. So there's a GitHub repo on Ethereum if you want to spread the good word of the Ethereum network and protocol. But yeah, I'm a big supporter of Munib and Stacks as well. So
I think I just
Bitcoin
followed you,
protocol.
Lee Valley Kelly, and it says Kelly 8 NYC, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
yes.
surprised you're not verified. That's shocking to me. Someone who runs a venture capital firm, Twitter, Elon, get moving, dude. What I mean, hey, that brings up an important point. Did you read this Saylor thing about using a Satoshi to validate the network? Did you read any of that or pay attention to what he's suggesting about
didn't.
Twitter?
I didn't pay attention to that. All I know is that Parabolic keeps putting McDonald's pictures up, and that's I get that far, and I'm short-sighted, I guess.
Well, he wants you to have an orange check mark that you use the Satoshi to validate who you were.
I did see that.
I think it's kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Kelly,
Yeah.
any parting thoughts before we go?
No, thank you for having me. It's been fun.
No, actually, you're a breath of fresh air, and I'm serious when I meant that we're looking for female board members, and the fact that you understand blockchain makes you number one candidate, and that you're in New York. Where in New York are you?
I'm in Chelsea.
Oh, great. So we have an office, obviously, in New York. Our general counsel's there. That's one of our. Yeah, that's excellent that you're there, Kelly. If you don't mind, we'll reach out to you for sure. We appreciate your time spending what looks to be about an hour with us. I know that we're not as intelligent as you with our questions, but we do learn from people like yourself. And so, can someone invest in Pearl River Venture Capital, or is that just your own money?
That's my own money.
Got it.
I haven't taken any capital for Pearl River, and I haven't taken any investment into Mint Gold Dust, but I'm about to open up that in the next couple of months.
Oh, well, keep us in mind. Obviously,
Yeah,
Kelly,
yeah.
Our last report, we have about 500 million in assets publicly, and then privately another about 100 million or so, give or take. So I think we're in the 600 million range now, give or take. I know regulators out there, not solicitation by ourselves securities. But we are always looking for deals. We do invest in public companies. We do that frequently, actually. That's a core part of our business. We own a business called Digital Power Lending, and we lend to public companies in convertible arbitrage and different kinds of things. We're actually creating a blockchain, Bitcoin-backed. I thought it was layer 3, but maybe it's layer 2.
Layer 2, yeah.
Is it layer 3 or 2?
I think it's probably layer 2, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I'd
So
have to look at it.
We're actually creating from our Mine Bitcoin, we're actually setting up a lending fund where we're going to be able to lend out Bitcoin or lend out fiat against that, and you can repay in Bitcoin. It's not an easy world yet, but I bet you'd be excellent at consulting on that side of it.
Yeah.
Jason, you got anything for Kelly before she goes?
A favor, possibly, Kelly. I don't know.
A favor?
Yeah.
You just met her.
I know. I'm trying to leverage this new relationship. All right. First point. Do you happen to
leverage the relationship? We've been on the phone with her. We've been live with her for 45 minutes.
Keeping on the female theme, do you know Caitlin Long from Custodia Bank? She's in,
Caitlin Long, who changed the laws in Wyoming. Yes.
yes. I was just looking for an introduction.
Okay, so
That's
then
all.
why don't you just ask for a private introduction there?
That's all I was looking for.
Yeah, we are looking for a custodian bank.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
I think there's a lot of people that would like to have a pathway into Caitlin. She's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Hey, I gotta try.
Kelly, is that a
amazing.
possibility you'd introduce us?
I think I could, yeah.
Oh, there
I'll
you
have
go.
to reach out to
Look
her.
at her.
All right.
She's already
So
added
then-
value. She hasn't even joined the board yet.
I know.
Kelly has not joined the board of BitNile yet.
Yeah.
And she's already adding value.
I know.
Like before she gets there.
You just gotta ask the right questions.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, what are you gonna get?
What do you get? One
I'm
sliver.
sure that you
get-
guys could easily reach out to her.
You get
but,
one sliver
yeah.
from Luke,
Yeah.
and it turns into Frank, and then
Turns into
there's a fucking
2
river.
exahash of miners. It's crazy. Anyhow,
Oh, man.
all right, great.
Kelly, you're a breath of fresh air. Safe travels to Austria, wherever your travels take you.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't spend too much time in the UK and eat anything. Well, you'll just if you're on a diet, I guess you could go to the UK.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I did like the Indian food. Anyways,
Yeah.
this has been Bitcoin Weekly, guys. Everybody, thanks special to Kelly Lee Valley Hunt, who runs Pearl Venture Capital Did I say that? Pearl River
Pearl
Venture
River
Capital.
Venture
Yes.
Capital.
Don't make it too complicated.
PearlRiverVentureCapital.com.
And I would check out PearlRiverVentureCapital.com because she's invested in some cool companies.
Yeah.
And she's a believer in Bitcoin and Ethereum. And this show will replay it. I don't know why we always do this, right? We do it live and then it gets replayed again.
Do it live.
How quickly will it be up again, Christy?
2 weeks?
No. Like later today.
Tomorrow, they said.
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right.
There you go. And we will try to have Kelly back on. Everybody, thank you so much. Special thanks to Kelly. This is Bitcoin Weekly. We'll see you tomorrow on Risk On. Everybody, make sure that you have communicated 1844 Risk On. Make sure you're communicating with the staff if you're coming to the conference. Email Randy at what's wrong with me?
I don't know.
Randy at Alt Alliance. Make sure that he knows if you're coming. Obviously, we're almost filled up, so you got to pay attention to this. If you're coming, you're going to come see A-Rod. Go to riskonevents.com. Everybody, Risk On. We'll see you tomorrow. Special thanks to Kelly. See you guys.
I will give you the $150,000 you asked for 30%.
I could run my business off of my cell phone inside of a phone booth. I don't need a big office.
Show me the money!
It works. Sports delivers.
There are a bunch of different uses for NFTs.
I want to unleash what you know already and then give you the confidence to seize on it.
Any superhero you want to be, you can be in this house.
Money is for lending, not for spending.